Hey everybody, it's Miranda, and we're here on another day of this epic adventure. It seriously keeps getting better and better. And I am super excited to introduce you to one of my new friends, Carlos Duran, just like Duran Duran. And you know what, Carlos, like I want to just start off because, we have so many ways and directions that this conversation could go. And, we just had a short conversation on the phone, and I was already like, oh my God, this like I could talk to this guy for hours about like a million things. But first of all, I would just love for you to just share with everybody a little bit about yourself, and then we're just going to dive right in.
Um, my name is Carlos Duran, and I get that question a lot, and I always feel this it's just different. Because what I mean, I can't even imagine what it matters to really answer too much about me. But I grew up in New Jersey. My parents are from Cuba. Uh, I love to help people. Uh, I love to be in service, and I've made one hell of a career doing it.
Yeah,
You know.
right on. Hey,
It's,
that's a perfect answer. That's what it's awesome, Carlos, and you know what I could really tell that just from having like a short conversation with you, like that you've really lived a life of service. And I think we have a lot we could talk about. But one of the things we've been talking about a lot on this show is, the state of humanity, the state of the planet, and kind of like what we're going through right now. And, you know, as a psychiatric nurse, I have a perspective that, and as a mom and as just a human, it's not just having the psychiatric nurse background. I think that anybody can look around us and kind of ask this question like, what the heck are we doing? Like, why are we living this way? Why are we so stressed out? Why are we, like our nervous systems are on fire? And so, one of the questions I wanted to ask you is, do you feel that humanity has like an addiction to suffering? And do you feel like there's a way out of that?
First, Miranda, let me say that I love the way you said it, on fire. And there's two ways that we can be on fire. We can be on fire with passion, with purpose, or we can be on fire with pain and agony. So Buddha has a really great saying. Buddha said that there's suffering and then there's our attachment to suffering. And Carlos says that there's suffering, there's your attachment to suffering, and then you need to let that shit go. And is it it's a programming, very much like we learn to eat the way that we're trained to associate with nutrition from early childhood. Our emotions are food for the mind, they're food for the soul. So the way that we are trained from early childhood to connect with our emotions and how those emotions feed our growth determine what are the things that we associate with as a necessity for nourishment. So, unfortunately, in the construct of the industrial society or the technocratic society, the pain is very prevalent, suffering is very prevalent, lack is very prevalent. So, we learn from a very early age to identify with these emotions as something that we need. We need that pain, we need that agony. Some of us look to project it and extract it from others by creating pain and suffering externally, which always, in course, creates pain and suffering internally. And then there are those that really work to internally beat themselves and in return create suffering for all those around them. So, is it an addiction? I don't know that it's an addiction, but it's a deep programming that creates an appetite, a need, where we're taught to relate to life through pain, through suffering, through lack. As an example, people often become very possessive of whatever their dis-ease is. My lupus, my cancer, God forbid,
Yeah,
right? But we
mine is,
use these words, yeah, right, these words of ownership
yeah.
for things that create suffering.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that we've become indoctrinated through not just a single lifetime. You know, the whole idea of epigenetics is massive because scientifically, you know, if we go to Dr. Google, Dr. Google will tell us there's a lot of peer reviews and studies that prove that disease, traits of illness are passed down in the gene code. So if this is the truth at the physical level, and we understand that metaphysically the laws say that as above so below, as below so above, then there has to be a mirror of the human gene code in the spiritual realm, your spiritual DNA. So ancestrally things are passed down, programming, things that don't serve you, limiting
Yep.
thoughts, cultures, belief systems.
Yep.
The loss of the original wisdom is diluted constantly, and it becomes replaced by this in Caucasian society with these other frequencies of depression, loss, suffering, victimhood, which is actually a cause more than an energy. But the point is that I don't think we're addicted so much as taught to behave this way, which is a beautiful thing because an addiction is very difficult to overcome.
Mhm.
But if it's a lesson, then we can unlearn. As many masters have said, we can unempty the cup
Mm.
and refill it with a new lesson, replacing that need for suffering with a desire, with a hunger, with an appetite for love, for sharing, for compassion. And all of a sudden, we're still on fire, but instead of burning with pain, we're blazing with love, with desire, with fulfillment.
Yeah. You know what? I love some of the things I really connected to that you just said. Like just a few seconds ago, you were talking about how we like take ownership. Like I have depression or I have addiction or I have, and it just reminded me, you know, I've never learned how to speak another language. It's one of my goals in life. But I know one thing I know about is that like in Spanish, they would say, I have hunger or I have, like it's a current state, but it's not like, you know, you're not like claiming like I'm always suffering or I'm always depressed. Like the depression is mine. So why would I, you know, I feel like the language actually that we're using is in some ways damaging. And um, because it's a form of programming, really. It's like, you know, we're programmed in this way to say, you know, I have depression or I have anxiety or I have, and then it's like, well, who am I without it? You know, and you know, so that I think would be one of my next questions is like, you know, who are we when we don't have when we're not identifying with all of these different forms of suffering? Like,
That's a beautiful place to be because we're a blank canvas. And now we're the empty cup, right? Now we are the blank canvas, we're the blank music sheet, we're the empty cup. Now we can use the power of free will and the gift of co-creation to bring forward, to manifest whatever we want.
nice.
You can draw it, you can paint it, you can sing it, you can write it, you can pantomime it. But the point is that it's your free will with the power of the creator, co-creation. Now absent of all limited thought, all limited existence, all limited pain, all limited suffering, and it becomes an embrace, a dance, it becomes a flow of really the highest aspects of yourself, the most beautiful aspects of yourself. And I'll tell you a big secret. Shit still happens. Fucked up things go down. It's just the way that you experience it will be
Yeah.
completely different.
Yeah. Oh my God. You know what? I'm so excited that you brought this up because, you know, one of the things that I feel or that I have been learning, and, you know, people talk about like manifesting and like the law of attraction and da da da. But like, I have really started to see co-creation. Like the word co-creation is what really resonates with me, and it is a shift because I what's coming in right now is there really is like a science of co-creation. There really is technology of co-creation, and it's also like a way to live and a way to be. And so this is a perfect segue into that because I would love for you to tell us your experience with co-creation, and because I know you speak a lot into how the planet's been in scarcity. So let's move us. How do we get from scarcity into this co-creation?
Well, again, scarcity is an illusion, right? That's just a lower frequency of existence. You know, scarcity is like it's like choosing to live in the dumpster. You know, why would you ever make that choice? But so that's what scarcity is. You know, and getting out of scarcity is just as easy as walking away from the dumpster. So, but beyond that, where we are now is at a we're at a rising. We're literally standing on the brink of a new dawn, and a new day is about to break. And we have within our conscious ability to plant a seed to co create a whole new existence. One of greater compassion, one of greater responsibility, but also one of greater flourishing, of
Mm.
harmony. That's a reality. So when we speak of co creation, what we're talking about is my spirit, my will, with that of the creator, the creative force, the creative element of all of creation. Now, if you're asking me where did I first come up with that, it's the most. Listen, there's a series of books that I think every single human being on the planet, certainly you, if you're watching this show, it's you. You have to read The Ringing Cedars of Russia. Okay, this is if you're watching this and you haven't read The Ringing Cedars of Russia, this is it. If the word co-creation somehow did something for you,
Mhm.
that's the next step. You don't have to look anywhere else. I'm telling you,
Yeah.
co-creation. If it tickled you in the soul, in the spirit, in the mind, the heart, please go find The Ringing Cedars of Russia. Um,
I have the whole series
and
myself, but there's the first book is
excellent.
Anastasia, right? The first was it's the first one,
Yes.
Anastasia. Yeah, there's like
Yeah, that's
nine.
right.
Yeah, there's like nine. I have the whole set, and yeah, it's
But
definitely worth reading. Definitely worth reading. So tell us how you like what did that bring to you? Like what did this series bring to you?
well, the co-creation meant to me that I was never a victim, and that there's no such thing as victims. That was the first thing that co-creation brought to me, and that was even before the clarity of what co-creation was clear to me. But there are no victims in creation. If you were to research the history of the universe, you wouldn't find a single victim, which means we have been constantly creating our existence through every single lifetime, through every single choice, through a constant cycle of cause and effect. We have created our life. But because we didn't create life itself, that means there has to be another element somewhere that created life. So if this element put down the playing field and I'm moving chips that were also it's a co-creation, right? I'm creating by moving chips on a playing field that was created by something else. Okay? And then when we go deeper into many spiritual paths, which is something that I always find curious when many paths make the same they allude to the same thing or declare the same thing, that the creator lives in our heart, that we are truly an emanation or an image of the creator. Many would say that we're a physical being having a spiritual experience. You know, so there's a constant co-creation in flux. All of nature is a co-creation. Everything, right? From the most basic element of procreation. I don't know why we call it. It's really co-creation, right? I mean, if no one's really a professional at it, especially I mean, if we were, we wouldn't have so many random kids anyway. But we're co-creating even at that level, right? I mean, here we are, right? We're exchanging, we're co-creating. So
Yeah.
I think co-creation is self-evident. The proof of co-creation is constant. Even the flow of the astros,
Yeah.
it's a co-creative balance.
It's
And
like
so,
a communion. That's how
yes,
I feel like it's like
communion,
this way
yes.
of communing with our environment and communing with each other and communing with the planet. And like, yeah, we could, like maybe we could draw some things into us that more of what we want and less of what we don't. But it's like seeing it in this broader perspective is Like I feel like that's what shift part of what's shifting right now is people are starting to get that, they're starting to get that it's not just about a vision board with a Ferrari, that like we're actually communing with our planet, and we actually have like kids who are going to inherit our planet, and like what we create is, it's not just for us, you know what I mean?
No. And it's not just for us now. And if you look at the law of the soul, depending on where your spiritual points of view lie, you may be back again.
Mm-hmm.
What are you leaving behind for yourself?
What are you leaving behind for yourself? Yeah. So you can be purely selfish. Yeah, like the only people who are not going to be
And
selfish
still
are,
do a good thing.
yeah, I mean, I agree. So it's like, if you don't have kids or if you don't have grandkids, then it can still be, what are you leaving behind for yourself, your future self. Okay. So yeah, so if what do we want to inherit ourselves? Like if in 200 years or 30, even like 30 years or the next generation, like if you don't have kids, like if you were going to come back around, what are you creating? Oh, there must be something funny going on.
Yeah, no, what you're saying, and my roommate over here that she freaked out but she didn't know that I had it on mute. It's okay.
Oh,
She dropped something in the
oh,
kitchen over there, but I had it on mute, so you don't have to worry about it. It's all good.
we let things ride over here. That's what we're all just living life.
So listen, I and that's it, right? How are we living life? How do we want to live our life? Do we want to live our life with an attachment to suffering? Do we want to live our life with a constant attachment to perfection rather than an attachment to rather the joy of the experience, to
Yeah.
letting things ride, to putting our efforts instead of into critiquing into co-creation? Because look, it's like everything else, man. It's an exercise. It's a discipline. At first it's not so easy. You because you're breaking old patterns. I had a great teacher. I've had many great teachers, but this guy was raw. He was a savage spiritual teacher. Um, and he said to me one time, the problem with you people is that you have 6 layers of calcified shit between the top of the top of your cranium and the top of your brain, and so there's a lot of truth to that. We have to understand that in order to change, we have to see that there are things that need to be changed. We have to accept that whatever I was doing isn't working for me anymore. Okay? We have to really be willing to let things go. Because the other thing that we learn, when I was saying before, is that you're never alone. You've never been alone. There are no victims, and you have never been alone, and you will never be alone. Because the spirit of the Creator, that essence of co creation, has always been with you, will always be with you. And all you have to do, as my teacher would say, is open your heart and let it in.
Yeah. So, Carlos, one of the things you talk about is like fulfillment, and how we can be more fulfilled. Like how can we be more fulfilled in our everyday life if say there's a bunch of chaos going on around us that we really don't we feel like we don't have any control over, because I think a lot of people are feeling like that right now.
Yeah, man, first, I want to find the first person that can control anything. That motherfucker I want to learn from. Control's an absolute illusion. I ain't seen nobody. I've seen dudes that can stop time. I've seen dudes that can bring down the rain and stop rain. I've seen that shit with my own eyes. I've seen motherfuckers literally open the celestial realms and call down interplanetary beings. Hand to my heart, I'm not bullshitting you. But I've never seen one single motherfucker that can control anything anywhere ever. So that's the first thing we gotta do. We have to accept control is an absolute illusion. Let that shit go because it's burning up energy. There's only so much energy that you're gonna have no matter
Yeah.
what. It's an investment, man. It's a strategy. Spirituality is a strategy. just like finance is a strategy. It's the strategy of the finance of your energy. How do you manage it? Where do you invest it so that it multiplies rather than depletes? So if you want to have fulfillment, that's something that we really have to look at is where am I investing my energy? Okay, because you have to invest your energy in places where it's multiplied, not depleted. Because you're
Mm.
creating holes in your life where the energy just leaks out. Okay. And more important than that, the first thing that you have to do when you say to yourself, man, I just want to be more fulfilled, you have to figure out what the fuck's going to make you happy.
Mm.
And let's just take a real fast and hard shortcut. More men, more women, more sex will not make you happy. Bigger cars, more homes, more cash in the bank will not make you happy. What you do with what you create in your life, the results of that will determine whether you're happy or not. I assure you, Bill Gates never had a great piece of ass in his life, and he's never had one fucking day of his life where he's felt joy and happy because the pursuit of his fulfillment has been based on external ambitions.
Mm.
The secret to wealth is basing your pursuit on an internal drive. Find a passion that lets you live a life on purpose and connect that spiritually to your mind, your body, and your soul. From that point forward, you will be brilliant, fierce, and unstoppable. And
Mm.
again, shit's gonna happen, things are gonna get fucked up, you're gonna be tried, you're gonna be tested. But you know what? Now you're on a course with destiny to living your highest self. And it could be nothing more fulfilling than that journey right there, in my humble opinion.
Yeah. You know what? I have a question about you because I know you're also really big on service. And I'm curious how you feel that fits in with fulfillment as well.
Well, for me, pretty cool. I get to a big part of my what would be my professional career, my professional existence is in service. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a disciple. I'm a brother. I'm a leader. I'm a follower. I'm a giver and I'm a taker in love and in service. And it's pretty cool that my entire life, my everything is really. But point being, I think that when we don't identify what we do with a purpose, there's gonna be a lack there. You're gonna find that there's never real fulfillment because in the way that I'm seeing the world develop now, everything that we do should be in service. If you manufacture like this kombucha here that I'm drinking, right? You know, this is an organic kombucha. They use all local ingredients. It's artisanally made. The can is the most lightest recyclable. I don't know if it's aluminum can that they could find, and 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 this is healthy. It's medicinal. You know, it may not make you better, but it's sure a lot better than a Coca-Cola or a Sprite. It gives a great alternative. It's a service, you know. If you make chairs, but you make chairs with consciousness, you make chairs that are ecologically friendly. It's a
Mhm.
service.
Yeah.
So I think it's really important that if you can't identify what you're doing, how it's really serving humanity, or how it's just maybe serving your community.
Yeah.
Because if you say, oh, it serves my family, yeah, but it serves your family because, you know, any good job or great job would, or great income,
Hmm.
you know, but really, in harmony with the earth, is it something sustainable?
Yeah.
Or is the luxury and the benefits that it's bringing you now, will there be an interest rate, a tax charged, levied over that against future generations of your own lineage? You know, and are you willing to leverage them for the immediate gratification? Because if that's the case, you cannot exponentially extract what will happen in the next 50 years. So it's a bad play anyway because you don't know what the biggest downside can be. And if you can't measure the biggest downside to something, I don't know. I sure as fuck wouldn't get involved with that. That's a big risk. If you don't know what the biggest downplay is, So I think when we look at life and we look at service, we have to think about things that whatever I'm doing, how is it really serving? How is it really sustainable?
Yeah,
And you can do that with law, with dentistry, with there's so
sure.
many beautiful ways. There's so many beautiful ways. So
Yeah,
it's absolutely important. And other than that, I believe tithing is also important, and service is important. Volunteer service is important. You know, I think all that creates going back to the law of affinity. You co-create with that energy, with that frequency. And by giving, there's a saying my grandmother used to say to me. She would say, "Mijo, las manos que comparten nunca están vacías." She would say, like grandson, the hands that share are never empty, and
mm,
that's truth.
yeah, that is true. I love so much about what you're saying right here. And I think about, there's a lot of talk these days about the divine feminine and like the feminine rising, the feminine coming in. But, some of the things that I've heard you talk about, like structure and then even this conversation about purpose, because I feel like there's a lot of people, and especially even a lot of men right now who they're tapping in and they're like, oh yeah, I want to be on board. Like with this divine feminine and then they're feeling like that everything that purpose is only like people who are like service providers or like somebody who can offer that way. But part of what you're saying here is like there could be purpose in everything you do, like your hands crafting a chair or like doing things like that is living in purpose, like when everything that you're creating is like my husband likes to make beer. Like he likes to make like homemade beer and brews on beer. And it's like, you could brew beer with purpose, like,
Yeah, absolutely,
and
absolutely.
I feel like this is like, um, I feel like that relates to a lot of the men out there who are starting to like, they're starting to wake up and they're like, okay, I understand that you ladies are tired about or the feminine is tired about the way we've been living and we're ready to shift and the masculine is saying what, I want to shift too, but then sometimes they're feeling like maybe what they've been doing like they would have to give up, but it's like I don't think that's true. I think that you could do all of these things with purpose, like you're saying, like you could practice law with purpose, you could build a chair with purpose, like the things that we're creating, the houses we build, the like everything that we create could have a different energy to it, like a more sustainable energy to it. And I feel like that's like this balance between the two. And I know that's kind of a broad concept, but I wanted to segue into the structure, some of the structure that you're talking about. And that was kind of like where my mind was like thinking about this masculine stuff because I think it's so important. And I want to start talking more about it because we have a lot of the feminine energy, like people they're really struggling with structure, like really struggling with structure. And I would love for you to just share a little bit about um, how structure like interplays with co-creation.
Yeah. Imagine that you are the world. You, your, your being is the world. And now the Creator brings forth the living waters. But those living waters have no oceans for boundaries, have no river beds for guidance, have no ponds for collection. Water just is displaced all across you, all over you. You drown. You're consumed by the water because there is no structure. And even worse, the water can't fulfill its greatest purposes.
Mm,
It can't co create because the water isn't in an ocean. There is no beach. There's none of the animals or the flora that grows in front of the beach. There's too much water everywhere. There's not enough land mass. Everything is underwater. There's no structure. So a lot of the fish can't exist because they don't have the right depths and the right topography. There's no place for the coral to grow, for the fish to eat. The rivers don't run, so the mountains don't get honed out. There's no rocks that get, it's just water everywhere. There's no soil that gets nourished. There's no food that grows. There's no existence. Without structure, You cannot direct the force of nature without structure. You cannot take the greatest purpose of the elements of life and bring forth their greatest potential.
Hmm. That's amazing. So true. Thank you for sharing that. And as a person who deeply struggles with structure, like I'm seeing more and more how I need that in my life. And I want to expand my relationship with structure, my struggle with structure. And so like seeing it that way, I'm just like, like being in this flow of like, well, I just want to dance around and have magic happen. Like I see there's this piece of structure that needs to come into play. And one of the things I've been talking about, I've had some really awesome people coming on the show, and like seriously awesome. So if you're on here, you're awesome. But it's like we're talking about new leaders, okay? We're talking about leaders of a new planet. Like we want to build like one of the things you said at the very very beginning of the show is that like we're on this brink. Like I I think many people can feel it. I don't know if everybody can feel it, but there's this frequency and this new planet that's just like waiting for us to just open our eyes and say, yes, please, we want it. Yes, please. Like, can we just
Yeah.
do it now? Like right now, and it's like right here in front of us. And and so that's what I decided to just find these people and bring them on a show because the world needs more of us talking about having these kind of conversations. We're having these kind of conversations about, this planet that is ready to shift. We have a humanity that is ready to shift. And so we need to have these new leaders that are coming up. And what are these new leaders going to do? They're going to build the new structures of the planet. And so that's what we're doing here, folks. Like, and we're having fun doing it. So if you want to join along, I hope many of you listening kind of get where we're coming from here. But I would love.
I think
Go ahead,
I like
Carlos.
to say this, Miranda. Today this is my third interview today, and you get to do a few of these every once in a while, and I have to tell you, your questions are just awesome. You have awesome questions. I love your questions. I'm grateful for your questions.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
you know how to get into it. That's really awesome. Yeah, I appreciate that.
Well, yeah, I had a friend tell me that I need to throw out life preservers because we like to go straight for the ocean, the deep end. I
Yeah, no,
want to,
yeah,
yeah,
let's go.
let's go. Let's go. Yeah. So if you were going to build these new structures for a new planet, Carlos, like, you know,
I
what would you
don't know.
say?
No, I wouldn't. I'm not gonna BS you. I wouldn't. I think there, I would defer to the teaching that I follow now, the teaching of Taita Juanito, an amazing, a beautiful, a beautiful soul, a beautiful, loving man, that I have the opportunity to work with. And what I've learned from him about this question of the building of the development of what it would be for the future are pillars and allies. Making sure that we have pillars of compassion, the pillars of forgiveness, the pillars of gratitude, the pillars of acceptance, the pillars of reconciliation, the pillars of love, well placed and affirmed in our lives. And these pillars require constant care and tending to. But the more that you work with these pillars, the stronger they become in your growth, in your evolution, in life. And then having spiritual allies. Everybody has a different, I started my spiritual studies through Christ, and eventually through first it was Christ, and then the Christian church and the Catholic church and Christian church. Um, non-denominational and some Baptists, and I've had a beautiful journey through through that world. But I've come to see that truly, with respect to everyone, I am very clear that nature reflects the codes and the realities of what the true life is, the spiritual life, the energy life, not the percent of the physical world that we see. And nature says, "What's your flavor? Do you like mangoes, strawberries? Do you like peaches? Do you like
Mm,
fish? Do you like rice? Do you like wheat?" Right? I mean, I can list a bunch of foods, right? So I can't imagine that something as base as putting food in my mouth and shitting it out my rear has so many varieties, and yet the way that I get to experience my creator has only one. That just doesn't sit with me
mm,
anymore. It doesn't seem, doesn't reflect anymore, you
yeah.
know. So I think whatever your flavor of creator is, it's important to have that ally in your life, whether it's a plant medicine path or a yogic path or a path of Christianity, you know. But there's so many beautiful spiritual paths out there, and having allies within that path, because there's the path and the allies, whether it's the angels or the guides or the plants or the ancestors,
Mm,
you know, or whoever the illuminated being that offers that path, whether it's Babaji or Krishna or Muhammad, or Nada or Mataji. So many options, right? Because we all come from somewhere. And these are all the words of my teacher, except that last part about Mataji and Nada. That's my part. But anyway, point is, there's a lot of spiritual options. Yeah, I don't want to get it confused between what he says and what I said. I realized, oh my God, I was trying to quote him and then I added my whole. But point is, spirituality has a lot of options. And within every spiritual path, there are allies within that path that you need to also embrace so that you have your pillars of who you are in your essence, your forgiveness, compassion, gratitude, and then you have your allies. And with that, you would create the structure of your crystal, as my teacher would say, of your crystal, which is your essence, which is your soul. There's many ways of saying it. In the ancestral tradition, we're a crystal. And in this crystal, you hold the essence of creation, you hold the connection to the origin. And in the origin, there was no separation. In the origin, so the structure was a complete coexistence with the creator. So when we say, what is the structure is my crystal. And how I choose to polish and hone my crystal will determine the structure of my life, of my existence, and how I am able to connect and co create with other crystals. And it's the micro constantly making the macro.
oh, I love that. That was beautiful. Thank you so much for teaching us that. And I want to talk a little bit about you. Like it was so magical. It was magical. It's a perfect segue into your fund. I think you have something called the Magic Fund. Is that what it's called? Can you tell us a little bit about
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, it's a mobilization for Amazonian growth and indigenous cultures. It's a 501c3, which is just the legalese way of saying a nonprofit organization. It's based in the United States, and we work with Amazonian cultures and indigenous tribes to not just protect the culture, but propagate. We have projects for health, we have projects for cultural centers, and we have another project for land preservation, which is not just preserving the land, but preserving the plants of the land, the studies, the traditional use of these plants. And our philosophy, none of the three big projects or the three main projects that we are working with for the next year, these are all been brought to us. We started Magic Fund with clear dialogue and transparency with the context that we've had in the indigenous communities of the Amazon. And every step of the way has been a collaboration. And the projects that we have now, which is one is to bring back the use of traditional healthcare to the communities, and it's a health brigade that we're launching. We're doing the first. We now thank God we could do the first one of 2020, now toward the end of December. already acquired over 200 for preservation.
Acquired what? You glitched.
230 hectares, which is over 460 acres.
Wow, that's amazing.
And all these projects, again, it's not us saying what you need. It's our counterparts in the Amazon letting us know. And so we have three projects that we started with and that we created, and we're pushing each one forward little by little. So if you're watching this and you care to support the Amazon, you can check out the website. It's magicfundamazon.com.
Awesome.
Magicfundamazon.com. Yeah, and I believe that giving back is really important. One of the businesses that I'm very proud and very grateful that I've had the opportunity to be a part of is a business called fourvisionsmarket.com.
Yeah, I'm
And
excited.
Four Visions Market is a bridge between the indigenous communities and the Western path walker. We supply spiritual tools to the Western world that come directly from the indigenous these Westerners have embraced and applied to their own life.
Yeah, that's amazing. So in Four Visions Market, you're collaborating directly with these people in the Amazon to create these. I don't know if you would call them tinctures or um, traditional traditional allies, or I don't know. Like, tell us what you call them
All
and
of that,
tell us a little bit about it.
all of that. Because again, we create a bridge between the Western Pathwalker and the spiritual tools of the Amazon.
Mhm.
So we have the ceremony jewelry that is used to the person that connects with this path, to the person that uses the plant medicine path. The ceremony jewelry has a lot of significance, even at home in
Yeah,
personal
I'm
prayer,
wearing some right
meditation,
now.
and daily. There you go. So all the jewelry that everything that you see on our site that comes from an indigenous ancestry
Mhm.
is we have a direct purchase. Over 50% or more of the retail price goes back to either the artisan, the
Mhm.
healer, or their community or tribe. And then we have an additional percentage that we donate either to Magic Fund directly or to other projects, smaller little projects here and there. It might be like some whatever, some food or something for a family, little things like that. But we're very intent on that the majority of our gross revenue go back to where it came from.
That's amazing.
So
It's so important because it's like more and more people are waking up, and I'm grateful that more and more people are waking up to the power of plant medicine and the healing that can come from plant medicines. And and also we get to give back and make sure that we're not just going in and raping a culture. Like, we don't get to do that again.
yeah,
We did
yeah.
that and we're not doing it again. So it really like I really like hearing how you have collaborated and are working directly with the people and asking them what they need instead of imposing on them. Well, we thought you needed this, so here, and because I think that's so important. This is the way we need to be collaborating and communing and cooperating with, um, in order to be, in order to receive the gift of having access to this wisdom. I mean, what, like,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Even at Four Visions Market, on the website, everything that we have is with permission and blessing from because for example, we have hape, which is a plant medicine that is used in personal prayer and personal meditation, and also has a larger ceremonial application. But you can purchase this like in the streets of some of these countries, but we go directly to the tribes. We work directly with the tribal leaders, with their people, using their recommendations,
Mm.
and the healing a traditional healer from the Amazon. They're made for real, with real prayers, with real chants. The plants are cultivated from their land, their family land. It's not, it's not being bought in mass
Yeah.
from an agrochemical farmer that has no connection to the land or the tradition. The tinctures that we have are real plants from the Amazon,
Mhm.
distilled in prayer. The entire process is held in an energetic container. Everything happens in the jungle. The music that's played is only ceremonial music. The thoughts, there's fasting. So
Mhm.
there's a massive investment of energy. And the beautiful other thing is that the people that we work with, they know that this is going into the Western world. And they're infusing and weaving prayers of unity. They're having prayers of healing. They're giving prayers of the return home, where all the races once again become a single race with one single language. Teacher would say, only the language of love. So that's what you get when you receive a spiritual tool from fourvisionsmarket.com.
Mhm.
Just getting the absolute most beautiful, most to you anywhere outside the Amazon. And we do it with a lot of love and a lot of respect
Yeah.
and, and
I
gratitude.
seriously can't wait to try, I am looking forward to trying some. And yeah, I'm definitely looking forward. So I wanted to also just let viewers know that you actually have a free gift. It's very generous, and I want to tell everybody about Carlos's free gift. He's created a course. It's how to achieve ultimate fulfillment, and there's going to be a link, somewhere on this page. There's going to be a link directly to that course, and like it's a very generous gift, and like Carlos clearly has like a lot of wisdom to share, so I definitely recommend checking out his course. And it's too long of a link to name here, so just the links on the page, click there and check it out. Yeah. Carlos.
Yeah, it's a 6 part course. I don't remember how much, you know, the number is 699. So each live participant paid 499 or 599 to sit on it. We did 6 weeks. We recorded the 6 weeks. The course is sold online anywhere from $97 to $47, and now I'm giving it away for absolutely free.
Nice.
So no strings attached. Over 1,000 people have bought the course, and straight up with you, I've always sold it with a money back lifetime guarantee. I sold about 1,000 and something, 1,012 courses more or less, and we had 2 requests for refunds. So I can stand behind it. Now you got that in your arsenal. No
Awesome.
excuses. I mean, for real, you rip through that course and you're a changed human being.
Yeah.
There's no way that you can go through that course and not be affected by it for the better. And it's
Awesome.
yours free.
That is a very generous gift, Carlos. Thank you so much. So I just
No, I really,
go ahead.
no, I just, I really appreciate you, Miranda. And I here watching. I'm just grateful to be rocking out with you guys and to be part of the show. And I
Awesome.
mean, the big show, the ride, the cosmic ride.
The cosmic ride. Yeah. Seriously. You know what? Carlos, like I'm just here showing up like, you know, this is just something I was guided to do, honestly. Like, I didn't think it up. I was divinely guided, and it's brought me some like really cool people. I mean, that Carlos just landed in my like Facebook suggested friends list, and that 2 people on the show showed up that way, and they were like perfectly aligned. I was like, this person needs to be on the show. And so it's like, this is flow consciousness. This is what happens when you let ease, like letting it be easy. I've incorporated like more play, like more enjoyment, like why, like I'm just ready for all of us to be living this way. Like more of
Right,
us, more and more and more of us. Because you know what?
right.
Life, it could be easy, it could be fun, like, it could be fun. Like we don't have
It
to be
really
serious
can.
all the time. We can
No,
talk about deep stuff and we don't have to be serious about it.
no, we don't. No, we don't.
So it's been
That,
awesome having you on the show, Carlos. Like, do you have any final words of wisdom for the viewers?
listen, I can tell you this. Go deeper with God in your life, wherever you're at now with God. And please accept that term as a general term for however you define God. But go deep more. If your heart's already open to God, invite God deeper into the most secret chambers of your heart. And other than that, may every day be the absolute best day of your life. I love you. May God bless you and God protect you always.
Right on. Thank you so much, Carlos. It was seriously so awesome having you on the show. Like, the world needs more of you. So we're like,
I feel the same about you, girl.
right?
We
The,
need
the
more
world needs
Mirandas.
more. The world needs more. And the world needs more of all of you watching too. So seriously, like, let's, let's just, this is a
Make
definite
it happen.
a cosmic ride. We're on a cosmic ride. So, yeah, like, this is the mothership here. So, thank you so much, Carlos. And I'm just going to say goodbye for now. And we're out of the Cosmic Mama show. And we'll be here. We'll be back again soon. Bye, Beth.